trying to do, so the lady I was going to, she was lightening my hair, but I think she was, I don't necessarily want it to be blonde. I was just trying to blend gray, but I think she's just trying to make me blonde. But so I still have the same issue, right?
Right.
But she's like she was a curly specialist, so she's like slow and low, basically. So over time, she's been, I mean, I straightened it so it'd be easier for you today. But I'm feeling like it's starting to get, one, I don't, like the color isn't ideal, but two, I feel like it's starting to get too solid.
Yeah, it's super solid.
And it's not, I mean, yeah, I have a lot of gray up here, but back here I don't have as much. But here, so this is one of your pictures here, which I liked. I know towards the bottom she gets more solid.
Yeah.
But these, like, I gravitate more towards these kind of looks.
With the darker.
Yeah, so not that it has to be exactly like this, but these are sort of the looks that
you like.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, if I can't achieve this, I'd rather just go to like a brown demi or something to color the gray. But
I see. Okay.
So it's for me, it's less about trying to be blonde. Because I like my dark hair.
I'm just trying to think of like what it's gonna look like when it fades. So if we do a brown, it'll lighten back up to kind of like a blondish or light brown tone. If we add in lowlights, those lowlights are still gonna lighten up to like a brownish tone, because the lowlights will fade too.
So is it just a matter of kind of dealing with the solid until it grows out and is more dimensional as it grows?
I would recommend is I would probably do maybe like focus the root, like touching up the root in the front. Back here we can leave it, let your dark grow in. I need to relighten these pieces though, the pieces that you're already blonde, because they're not light enough to be any tone like that right now. And then just go from there. But yeah, I would say I would just try to grow this out, tone it down, get it lighter, but like tone it ashier than where you are right now, and then have your natural grow in as the dark and then blend it that way later. Because I can do the highlights, I can make you leave looking like that, but in like 6 to 8 weeks it's not going to look like that. It's going to look maybe even something similar to this, where it doesn't really blend.
Yeah, because I also think maybe showing you where, because she gave me this kind of midway through my appointments with her to put on my hair. So it was, I have a feeling this color that's in here right now, it's definitely a different color that I left her salon.
Sorry, can I see it one more time? So sorry.
Yeah.
And then she gave you, how long did you leave it in?
I left it in longer than she told me because I didn't like the bright yellow that I had at the time.
Did it do anything?
It darkened it.
It darkened it?
Yeah.
Took a picture?
It took it to, let me look at this. It took it to, here's kind of the color it was after I saw her. So see how bright it is in the front? So something like what you did here, I mean, do you feel like my hair is not the right tones for that either?
No, it's not the right level for that right now.
I mean, if we could get it to that.
I'd have to see how light you get first.
Okay.
But you have, like, even if I try to lighten this blonde, you have the dark that's in between it. And it's really hard for me to pick out those dark pieces that are already in there. So when I lighten it, it's going to lighten those dark pieces. And they're not going to lighten light enough. They're going to be warm in between because I can't really separate them perfectly. They're going to be woven in.
And I know she wasn't putting like dark color on my hair, so the dark pieces.
She didn't, but whatever color toner she toned you with, or maybe the one that you did, it bumped your base.
Oh, okay.
And so the color, your natural color in between, it's warm. So it gives the appearance that your hair is overall warm. even though the blonde in between might be lighter and it's not as orangey, but because those dark pieces have already been bumped, they're looking reddish and a little orangey. And when I go in and lighten you again too, it might happen because I can't really pick all those pieces out, but I still need to lighten these pieces because they're not perfectly light like I need them to be to give you those ashy tones today. So you're still going to have that warmth in between, but I just want to focus on getting you to like an ashier tone because it seems like you've never really had an ashy tone at all. So I want to do that at least, because usually when you do an ashier tone, it does look darker. It doesn't like the warmth makes you feel light and bright. If I tone it down to make it more ashier, maybe even more like the violet tone, I think one of the pictures that you texted me, she had a violet hue to it, and so it appeared more darker and dimensional. So we can do that, and then let me see really quick in the front hairline. And then I would just
Was it this one?
Yes, she has the violet gray toner that I normally like to use. And in the front here, I do want to highlight it to blend this to give you a softer grow out. I can maybe just do like a couple on this top area, but in the back here, your root's really not that long. So we'll just focus on touching up the blonde pieces. Let this grow out, have your natural like dark really grow in a little bit more before we can do that other blending with everything else. But I'll do a little bit here so you don't have like light and dark, there's some sort of connection to what we're doing, and the blonde ends. Like the violet would last the longest out of all the ash tones that you're kind of asking for. That would be the most pigmented version of all those photos and just help with the fade and grow out of everything.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So here is my client's before. I want to show you guys a good look of her dimension and the warmth that's in her hair and what we're going to be doing to kind of tackle the different levels in her hair and then also blend her virgin root. She explained to me in our consult that she had gone to a few different hairdressers and she felt her biggest concerns were, one, it wasn't really blending with her natural gray roots very well, so when it grew out, there was it just didn't blend the way that she had hoped for. And two, the other concern was that she felt overall too blonde or too light. And so to really minimize her or that feeling to where we are still trying to blend the root, essentially add a little bit of softness and lightness to it so that when it grows in seamlessly. But really here, the key is less is more, because I don't want her to feel as this grows out that she is too blonde, because she did express to me that she traveled out of state, and whenever a client travels out of state, the main goal is to create something that is going to last them a long time. And so even with any type of gray blending transformation that I do, the biggest goal is longevity. And the main thing that I'm always considering is what it's going to look like when it fades. Because when color fades, after about 6 to 8 weeks, it kind of stays at the level of where it's faded to. But within that 6 to 8 weeks, the color can change over time as you wash. And by change over time, I mean that it can get lighter and get warmer. So I want to make sure that their color still looks good even after the 6 to 8 weeks as much as possible. And I know it's not going to be completely perfect because of what canvas we're working with, but I want to just give her the best, most efficient results because she did travel to come and get her hair done. And so because of that, I just want to make sure that I give her my best work to where it lasts her the longest and she can go and have something that is going to make her feel good even though her roots are growing in. So to kind of go with that, I am going to be doing a partial because she doesn't have a ton of root and she already is feeling too blonde. So all I really want to do is just pretty much break up the root. So I'm going in and just pretty much doing the mohawk first. I started in the back, and then because she does have more natural gray silver around her hairline, I'm going to do a little bit more of like a back-to-back weave for her money piece to kind of create the effect to where her front is lighter, but in the back I just broke it up very subtly. I left a lot of negative space in between my foils to preserve her natural hair, but just giving enough space so that it does break up the root a little bit and blends in with her natural gray roots. So after I do the mohawk, I'm going to be connecting the side money piece, and really I want to utilize doing more weaves here for extra added softness. We're not really trying to put in the color, we're just trying to break it up a little bit. So less is definitely more for this transformation, and I just want to kind of subtly, softly break up her gray roots and have some sort of transition into the lighter ends. Now I'm doing the root first because I am going to be lightening her mids and ends later, but they're already about a level 7 and up, so I want to tackle the areas that are the darkest levels first. So that is why I'm going in and doing the root and putting that in the foil. So now that we've put her root foils in, I am now going in and strategically picking out her previous blonde and applying some lightener onto those areas. I am going to be weaving and teasing accordingly to wherever I feel it is needed, and I am using different strengths of developer to kind of just lighten her hair, and I'm just trying to pick out any highlights that are super light and just really try to lighten the areas that are just not light enough. And the areas that I'm really trying to pick out are the areas that are in her hair that look a lot more orangey or just have a lot more warmth and need that extra time in the foil. I also want to make sure as I'm picking out these pieces and going through and relightening them, that I'm making sure that these foils are nice and see-through so that I get a really clean, even lift too, because even though they're already light, I still want to make sure that I get the most even lift as possible, because we already are working with so many different levels in the hair. Our goal is to essentially even out the canvas, gets her to a point where she can be lighter, but any pieces that are more of her natural dark color I am trying to leave out, because again, we're trying to preserve her natural dark hair and kind of transition her to doing something that she doesn't have to come into the salon too often. So here is going to be, sorry it's out of focus guys, but I am pretty much just picking out the old highlights that are too light and putting the rest of the hair that is probably like a level 7 to almost like a level 9 and putting those areas in a foil and just really saturating on the areas that are a little bit warmer. I'm still teasing, feathering up because I want to still create a nice soft blend here. And I am laying my foils nice and flat. I don't want to fold them up or anything like that because I want them to have that clean, easy lift. I find that when you fold the foils where it already has lightener, sometimes it can move your lightener around and can disrupt the saturation that you had already put in the hair. So right now you can see I'm picking out the dark in this specific section because everything looks pretty even, and then I found that the root blend was just a little bit harsh, so I went ahead and teased it, and now I'm going to be going in to relighten those ends. And before I apply the lightener, notice how I brushed out the hair to kind of help spread the hair out on the foil a little bit. That's just going to help get a really good saturation as I spread the hair and get the section nice and see-through to apply more lightener. So after her foils were all done, I did do a root tap with the Danger Jones gloss toners. I wanted to do a root tap because I wanted to just kind of blend and add some softness to her root. For that root tap, I used a 5-1, and then I'm kind of doing a wet balayage at the bowl just to kind of brighten up the ends just a little bit more, because remember how I picked out her old previous highlights that were a little bit too light. We were mostly focusing on the areas that were like a level 7 to like a level 8 and 9, but now we are hitting the areas that were more so level 9 and 10 just to re-brighten and have it more even. And then once that was done, we did shampoo the lightener on the ends out and the shadow root out, and so now I am just going in and applying the Danger Jones artistic toners for this color. For her toner, the artistic toner formulation, I did a mixture of the silver with violet blonde and cool blonde to create a nice pigmented silver to help cancel out that warmth. I'm applying it to the root, the mid and the root area first, and then just kind of like brushing it out, letting it kind of spread through the ends, and then just applying the toner as needed in the areas that have a little extra warmth.
I like it. Looks good. Yeah. It's just so different.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah. It blends better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the roots still feel nice and blended, not too light.
Yeah.
Alrighty guys, so here is the final look. I absolutely love the way that it came out. I feel like it blends so much better. We got rid of a lot of that orange out, surprisingly. I did not add any lowlights. This was just me trying to strategically pick out the hairs that were a little too warm, and then also just strategically picking out her natural dark hairs that weren't too warm to kind of preserve that depth in her hair. And I'm hoping that this is going to last her a long time before she has to fly back to LA to come see me, because we did get her really light. I feel like she can maintain this color with some purple shampoo at home and do some good treatments in the meantime of it growing out. But overall, I was really happy with the result, and I can't wait to see her come back or let me know that she can maybe just grow out her hair from here, because I feel like the way that I blended her roots, it is going to grow out really soft and should last her, I would say, anywhere from like 4 to 6 months. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.